that certainly is the case. But when the internet was coming into play, governments were very much involved, more than I realized at the time. And governments would come in, and I see so much of these social networks as being aligned with the government, because they do most of the spying, and then they get exempt from any liability, and the governments work very closely. So it's the private sources that collect the information, and the information and the ability to do this was better developed in the marketplace where they were making profits. Although this leads to a collusion of big business and government, which is sort of corporatism or fascism, because government individuals aren't usually ahead of the curve on technology. And I think that might be something we should think about, on the cryptocurrencies. I've thought about this now for several years, about the relationship of our government with the development of cryptocurrencies, because the first time this question was asked, I think it was Bernanke, he did not come down negative on it. And even now, our government is tolerant, and you're allowed to put cryptocurrencies into your retirement funds, and some of the people who develop cryptocurrencies work with the IRS to develop the regulations, and profits are reported on 1099s. So I'm a strong believer in modern technology, trying to protect us from the spying of government. I don't like it when they start working with the government. And right now, I think the government is very interested, along with, convincing us not to use cash, that they're going to monitor, because the market is pretty powerful about these cryptocurrencies if they really work. And I think it's still a question how well they're going to work, but the technology is there. The government's not smart enough to know about it, but just like they were smart enough to get involved in the internet. And another...
Yes, absolutely. Maybe someday there is a future for cryptocurrencies, but I'm very skeptical right now. And you made a great point how the Federal Reserve didn't come down hard on them. And there's, I think, a misconception that people think, oh, this Bitcoin, it's going to take down the Fed and this and that. If there's one thing about power, it's when they fear something, they ignore it totally. That's why you'll never hear about Ludwig von Mises or Murray Rothbard in the New York Times. It'll never happen. And Dr. Paul, when you ran for president, they just shut you down. They did not want people to know about Ron Paul. Your supporters and myself, we all know that. That's why your supporters were renting blimps. Google Ron Paul. So, because when power fears something, they ignore it. Now, over the last several weeks, for weeks, I'm listening to Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan and Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs give all of their opinions on Bitcoin. I don't think they fear Bitcoin at all. If they're shining a light on it and talking about it in public, I don't believe that they're afraid.